as we turn the page to the playoffs, we get out of the, should they or shouldn't they play the starters on Sunday? Did Tanner look good? It's sort of like a turn to your vibe. And to me, your vibe on the Eagles and the playoffs this year comes down to one question. Do they have it in them to flip the switch to play a level of football that we have not seen consistently all year long? Is this just a flip the switch team? Does this team have the championship DNA, that they can just sort of plod their way through the regular season and then the playoff comes and to a large extent, especially offensively, can it just be a different team? My concern here is that I think they believe they can flip the switch. Based on talking to Jordan Mailata every week, listening to Nick Sirianni, listening to the players, I think they believe that there is another gear, and as soon as the playoffs start, they can just flip that switch and that gear will be turned on. Mm-hmm. That I don't believe. I suppose there's a way they could get through the NFC. I suppose, because anything is possible. But when I think, can they flip the switch, I think back to the 17 games I've watched this year. And I have not seen 4 consecutive games where I think that this is a championship football team. And they're not only going to have to win 4 straight games to win the Super Bowl, they're going to have to win 4 straight games against playoff teams, right? Like, they're either going to have to beat the Rams or the Seahawks. They're going to have to beat the Niners. They're going to have to beat, and I have not seen that from this team. So if there is a flip to be switched, it's a flip that I have not seen all year long. So I am having trouble believing that the Eagles have a switch they can flip and all of a sudden become a team that can win 3 straight games in the NFC and then win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's the question, I think.
Yeah, no surprise there that you don't see that happening. And it should be no surprise to anyone that I most certainly believe that they could go on this run.
How?
So here's the thing.
Yeah.
This team, and I'm not saying what you said was wrong,
Sure.
but I think that's more from the purview of the offense.
Yes.
And that's what has frustrated a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Justifiably so. I can understand the frustration and the distrust that some would have with the offense because sometimes we don't know what we're going to get when the offense lines up on any given Sunday. But I do know what I'm going to get for the most part when that defense lines up every week.
That's for sure.
You're going to get a unit that plays cohesively. You're going to get a unit that plays with extreme confidence, smart football. They tackle well. And the conductor of that unit is one of the brilliant minds that the game has ever seen. I don't think there's anything Vic Fangio hasn't seen from an offensive standpoint. And I know Kyle Shanahan has a great offensive mind. That's why this is a great matchup between these two, Kyle Shanahan versus Vic Fangio. But in this building, with this crowd behind the defense, that's where I think we have the advantage. And I understand we don't have home field advantage or we don't have anything guaranteed after this week as far as home field. I understand that. But this defense travels. That's the other thing. Your best unit can function at home or on the road, so it's always going to keep you in the game. And from a defensive standpoint, that's what you want to do. Make it difficult for the opposing offense to put points on the board, hold them to field goals, get that costly turnover at the most opportune time, and set your offense up. That was what was lost in the brilliant year that Saquon Barkley had last year, his once-in-a-lifetime year. Right? That's what was lost, was how great this defense was and how well they played that allowed our offense last year to find its footing and eventually pull away in games.
I think specifically in the NFC Championship game in the Super Bowl, we always talk about the offense. It was really the defense that fueled all that.
Yes, totally agree. And that's where I'm hanging my hat, is on this defense. And when I look at our offense, here's what I look at. I look at the quarterback first. And I say to myself, is he a liability or an asset over there? He's an asset, without question, because he makes good decisions, doesn't put the ball in harm's way, doesn't seem to be rattled most times. Even if you get off to a slow start, he still has the ability in that second half to come up with plays. And you have the weapons at your disposal. We got 2 of the best wide receivers in football. You got one of the best tight ends. And you know you got an all-world running back. Those things are available. What I need from the offense is for those big guys up front to be as close as they can to the unit they were last year. And that's going to have a trickle-down effect on everything else they do offensively. But it's going to start with us defensively. It's going to start with the defense. The playmakers are over there. When I look at the offenses they may have to face, we're not winning shootouts.
No.
And thank God we don't have to be in very many shootouts. Because our defense doesn't put us in those type of situations.
The question really will be, can the defense – because you would think one of these weeks – against one of these teams, that the team's going to score 24 points against them.
Sure.
You know, and does the offense have it in them to match it in that one particular game? And I think the defense is great, but to rely on them in a way that we're going to need to rely on them for 4 straight games, I think it's going to catch them one time. And I think I'm a little worried about how much they think they can just flip the switch, because my concern is a game like Sunday or whatever game, they're going to think they flip the switch and they're going to get out there and it's going to be 10 minutes into the game and it's going to look like it
normally looks.
It normally looks, and maybe they get disheartened by that. You know, like, oh no, we don't have this in us. We thought they're feeling good now, right? They didn't play on Sunday, so they're feeling refreshed. All those things, but 10 minutes into the game, all of a sudden, it's the season again. You know, so
and here's why I'm slightly a little more confident that won't happen. I think there's been a shift, and although it may not be obvious to everyone, this team has normally been identified by its offense. That's where the star names are. That's where the big money is at on that side of the football. There's been a shift in what is driving this team. And I think it's the defensive unit. It's the way they play together. It's the energy in which they bring. It's their ability to take the ball away, almost to the point, Spike, where you can feel the offense is waiting for the defense to make a play for them, to feed off of it.
Yeah.
Now, it used to be your offense is your driving force, and your defense feeds off of that. It's been a shift. And I know it's uncomfortable, and I know it's frustrating at times. But we're fortunate because we have that side of the football that plays that well. I know it's not 4 games Seattle has to win, but they got to win 3. Seattle is going to use the same formula that we're using.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Defense, run the football, make a few plays in the passing game. The quarterback, you ain't got to be the reason we win, but you damn sure can't be the reason that we lose.
215-592-9494. Sort of a vibe check going to the playoffs. Do you think the Eagles have it in them to just flip the switch? Because apparently they think they do.